got a crazy story for everyone today, and it's actually quite disturbing. So in every state, well, I shouldn't say every state because I actually don't know, but I'm assuming in every state they have what is called a state anatomical board, and that is where people are donated to the state, and they basically pump them full of formaldehyde and preserve them for as long as they can, and they use them for various reasons. All those reasons I don't really know. Typically these places are at some sort of a hospital, or it maybe have their own morgue. I don't really know. This particular one was at a hospital. Anyways, long story short, the old hospital that the state anatomical board was in was being shut down and being rebuilt in a completely different location, like all the way across town. So I don't know the exact number, but they probably had somewhere 70, 80, 90 bodies in there, and they all needed to be moved. So whoever was running this anatomical board reached out to all the local removal company contractors, and basically had all of us put in a quote on what it would take and what it would cost to move all these people. So we put in a bid, and we were going to do it. We were going to dedicate a couple of our vehicles and just pick up 2 at a time, because that's what we can haul, 2 at a time. And just basically have a couple of our employees, or I was going to do some of them, and just pick up 2, follow the proper chain of custody, make sure we were getting the right people at the right time, all that jazz, and transport them 2 at a time back and forth until it was done. Probably would have taken a few days, maybe longer, depending on exactly how many people were in there. The state did not like our quote. It was going to cost them quite a bit of money. And the other legit removal companies, aside from ours, did not get the contract either. The people who got the contract were this kind of sketchy. They weren't really a funeral home, but they advertised to the public. They were more of like a trade service, and they bought this trade service from a guy I know, and then tried to turn it into a trade service / funeral home. And they had this old building that was next to like this metal scrap yard in kind of a rough part of town, and it just was not a good place. It was terrible. I used to go there all the time, and I hated it. It was awful. Anyways, so this company gets this contract to move all these folks from the state anatomical board from the old hospital to the new hospital. This guy literally went and rented a U-Haul truck and stacked all these people up in this U-Haul truck, like literally body on top of body. And I didn't see it in the truck, but this is what I got from a couple of other people that were a little more involved with that place. Something happened where they weren't exactly ready to receive all these people into the new hospital. So this dude takes all these people and unloads them into this sketchy, giant, weird building that they used as a funeral home / trade. And I ended up going in there and dropping somebody off just for a completely different purpose, just one of their calls, or a call for a funeral home that used this place as a trade company for their cremations and embalmings and whatnot. And I walked towards the back where their prep room was, and you could see a ton of these people, just black bags stacked on top of each other. And there was, I'm not even kidding, a trail of formaldehyde left on the floor from where they were dragging these people. And I was so pissed. Not only because we could have done it properly and the state just decided to cut corners and do it for as cheap as possible, but more importantly, how all these people were treated. Just because they passed away doesn't mean they deserve to be disrespected like that. And I can only imagine that all of their families and friends would have just been completely irate about what this company had done. And I called OSHA. I didn't know who else to call. The state that I was in at the time didn't have any regulation, and anybody who knows anything about the funeral industry will probably know exactly which state I'm talking about. And OSHA came out, and they got in big trouble, and I'm glad. It didn't have anything to do with the money. If somebody got the contract over me because they were a little bit cheaper or whatever the reason, that's fine. I mean, we've dealt with rejection from places not wanting to use us for a multitude of reasons, but just unbelievable some of the stuff that goes on in this industry that nobody ever has any idea about. And to stack a bunch of people in a U-Haul truck and then drag them through a funeral home and then stack them on top of each other in a corner, not even in a cooler. I mean, just utterly disrespectful. And so that was one of the crazier stories I remember. I actually started refusing to go there after that. So I told a bunch of the clients that I served that use this place as their prep facility and their cremations, like, we're not going there anymore. I don't want my name attached to anything that has to do with this place. So yeah, that was a wild one. Hope you enjoyed. Later.